Hello, my name is Robin Morales McCarthy. I teach at Anthony Elementary in Anthony, New Mexico. It is part of the Gadsden Independent School District in southern New Mexico. We are located right outside El Paso, Texas. I am a special education teacher. I teach 5th and 6th grade for academic skills. I am going to go ahead and go over little things within my classroom with procedures and whatnot. So I shall begin. So I'm going to be going back and forth just because I'm the only one who's doing this, and so please forgive me. And I have my little cheat sheets here to help me out. So guidelines for success, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over, is right there. And it is to be prepared, be responsible, be respectful, be kind, be productive. So, with these mini courses that we have been going over, I realized I didn't have this, and I came up with this because these are some of the things that, being a 5th and 6th grade teacher, I've come to realize that needs to be continuously taught with my class. A lot of them don't come prepared. A lot of them are still very immature, so they're not that responsible. They can be disrespectful. Be kind, not so much, because that's one good thing about my classes overall. They are a very good group. They're a very kind group. And to be productive. They don't like to be productive, so that is something we are working on. Okay, and then over here, excuse my boxes, it's science with the El Paso Electric. I haven't had a chance to get to it because it's been a crazy week. So over here is my classroom rules. It is be nice to others, the golden rule. Treat others like you want to be treated. Be careful of your surroundings. Be respectful. And I gave some examples like raise your hand, no talking when someone else is talking, and stay seated. This is actually something I came up with my class together the first day of school. And so it's basically the same concept as a social contract. I just didn't have them sign it. And so we came up with this. This is what we decided as a class. And there you go. So that's that. Okay, so for attention signal, what I do is I start from 5 and I count down to 1. And then I say, all eyes on me. So for example, I'm going to try my best because, again, I'm doing this in selfie mode. I'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all eyes on me. And they know when I start counting, I mean business. So that's what I do for that. My expectations for classroom activities. So that would be, let me go ahead and flip it back over because I do have it listed, starts over here. Sorry, my instructional assistant helped me put this up today. So, individual work. They are to work silently and try before asking for help. So one of the things about my students is that they have gotten into the habit from years past. I don't know if this is my first year on this campus, but in years past, what they do is they get an assignment and all of a sudden they try to go to my instructional assistant or they go to me to the point where it is overwhelming. And they won't even try first with their individual work. They just automatically go. So we actually do have groups, which underneath these posters, and these are only for here for today, for this video, only because it's the end of the year. This is something I'm going to look into for next year, but underneath these posters, we actually have the groups. So we broke them up into groups. Group work. We do, you do. No interrupting teachers. So if they're out at their seats doing individual work, they are not to interrupt the teacher unless there's an emergency. They have to use their inside voices because I do have a lot of students with ADHD. A lot of them are boys, and it doesn't take much encouragement for them to get loud. So that's why inside voices is a big one. They must participate. They try to get out of participating, and they must try. For transition subjects, turn work in when complete, which if we go all the way over here, walking, right here, these are my bins. And yes, there's some work. So there's math, language arts, social studies, English language development, science, and then this bottom one is work that we've we're not complete with it. It's going to take more than one day to do. So whenever we are transitioning subjects, they are to either turn into the works in progress shelf, or they put it in their take-home folder, which these blue folders, this group here, they're not here all day long. And they don't always really get homework, so that is their take-home folder. So that's why theirs is still there. Okay, transitioning subjects. They are to get material as needed for next subject quickly and quietly. So we have their science and social studies right there. So the social studies is the green books and the blue books is next to it. So science, social studies, so they get that and they just put their stuff away and do that. And I lucked out this year. I have a good group, so they it doesn't take much for them to transition without me getting onto them. Transitioning to leave rooms such as specials like art, music, PE, etc. Lunch, dismiss, or dismissal for the day. So the area needs to be picked up and clean, and they got to sit or stand quietly at their desk, showing that they are ready to be lined up. So usually that's pretty good too. They don't really, I don't have to get too much onto them about that. So encouragement procedures. So what I do is I will go ahead and say, for example, they have a quiz, which my students did have a quiz today for math. I still need to grade that. But if they didn't do very well, I will go over one-on-one with them. I'll try to find something positive that they did very well on the quiz, and then I'll show them what I'm seeing, what they could have done better. And I will just let them know, just a little bit more work, they got this. And like, for example, another thing today is, so my students have a writing prompt that they're working on, and it's about bravery because we just finished reading Number of the Stars. And I am expecting just 3 paragraphs, not very much, not a big writing assignment. First one is to tell me what bravery means to them. Second one is a time where they showed bravery, and then the third paragraph is just the conclusion paragraph. So I was meeting with one student, and when he came in late to the class this year, he really wouldn't write a whole lot, and just not really answering much, but then again, it was more like he didn't want to. He has the capability of doing it, but he didn't want to. He's still like that, but with a lot of encouragement and push this year, he was able to do a pretty good job. Of course, granted, I heard from my instructional assistant today, she helped him a lot, but I mean, he didn't have that many errors. So he's definitely improved. He can at least do something, especially comparing to the beginning of the year. So, and that's usually like one-on-one conference at my desk. Correction procedures for misbehavior. So what I do is I try to give them options of, choices. So like, say, for example, they don't want to do their work, and I'll tell them like, okay, well, you either do this or you do that. You may not like the choice, but you have to choose, and they usually go with that. Another thing, and I wanted to show you this. Since it is the last, month and a half left of school, we do have a lot of things planned going on. Like, one, we have state testing, but then we also have a school-wide field trip, plus each individual grade has their own field trips. So, example right here, 3 strikes, you're out. So what I have right here is all of my students that come into my room. The reason why I've covered it is because it's got all their names. As you can see, there's some strikes right here. So 2 students have 2 strikes already. 1 has 1. And basically what it means is that once you get 3 strikes, for the school-wide field trip, they go and hang out with the assistant principal and principal for the day during the field trip. And then they don't go on their individual field trip. And I do let them know. And this is why I actually have this up, is to let them know. So this is actually something new. I just put this up Friday. So once they are they misbehave, I'll give them I give them a verbal warning. They misbehave again, then I will contact parent. And if they misbehave again, then I will go ahead and let the office know. Usually they get lunch detention during that time. Then after they serve their time, I will come back and converse with them privately, and I will just be like, okay, what did we learn? What are we not going to do? And just basically reestablish rapport with them to let them know that, hey, you messed up, but you always have the opportunity to start over again. Okay, beginning and ending routines. So when they come into school in the morning, they are to come in and take down their desk. I mean, not their desk, their chairs. So see how their chairs are all put up on the tables? That is so the janitors can come and sweep at night. So they come, take down their chairs off their desk, and I will actually have their bell work ready to go on their desk in the morning, and they are on their bell work. Then they go over to the blue shelves over there, and they put it on the bottom. Because usually a worksheet for the whole week, and then on Fridays they turn it into language arts because it's usually language arts. So that is the beginning of the day. And then once they finish early before I'm ready to get started for the day, then they are to read a book. And during that time, I take attendance. I get the schedule up on the board, which if you see right there, that was for today. Normally on Wednesdays we have half day, but because we have Friday off, they had a full day. So that's what we did today. So that's what I do during while they're doing their bell work. Ending routines. So I have jobs, and there's different jobs throughout the day, and they all, this is the job chart. So we have teacher assistant, line leader, chalkboard help, caboose leader, door holder, technology helper, paper towel passer, library help, barcode monitor, and floor monitor. So the teacher assistant, they run anything to the office or do anything that I need to get done outside of the classroom. Like if there's a form that I need to get down to the office, they take it for me. Chalkboard helper, they write the date on the board for me. Line leader, they're the head of the line. My caboose leader, they're in the back of the line. Door holder, so anytime somebody comes to the door, they're to open it. Technology helper, they help me out with the smart board, getting it set up, and I'm going to show videos. Library helper and the paper towel passer, that they each help out at the end of the day with passing out paper towels, which if you look over here, we have paper towels. So they do that, and then we have spray bottles. That's to disinfect the tables. That's something we got into once COVID happened to help stop the spread of COVID. Library helper, which that's my library over there. There to just check it over, make sure it looks okay. Barcode monitor. So for lunch, we are a Title I district, not just a Title I school, but a Title I district. And they have to have barcodes, which that's what these are. The barcode monitor, they go ahead and pass out the barcodes. And the floor monitor, at the end of the day, they make sure the floor looks good, that there's no papers or anything like that on the floor. So, I just announced at the end of the day, time to do what, and they get to it. All right, manage procedures for managing student work. I admit I do need some help on that. Like if you had noticed with my shelves that I have for turning in work, there's work there. On the top, that's math work. That's stuff that I've been doing all week long, and I still need to grade from the past couple weeks. So I admit that. So they go turn it in, and I grade when I get to it. But being a SPED teacher, there's always so much to do that you just don't, things fall off. So, okay, so procedures for managing independent work. So independent work, that is when they're at their desk, when my instructional assistant and I are holding a small group. So some students will be at their desk. Usually during that time, I have them do something easy that I know that they can do, or they're on the computer doing some of the computer programs like iStation or Lexia. Our district has a math curriculum. Our math curriculum has a math program, and we do iReady. So I usually stick them on that while they're out there because they really don't do independent work very well. So that's what I do. And they're there to remain seated and do their work. And if not, I do get on to them. And I go through my behavior management with them. Okay, so some questions. How does Classroom display respect and value for the language and cultures of the school's diverse community through classroom artifacts and interactions? So if you look around my classroom, there really isn't a whole lot of anything dealing with the culture. So since we are right outside El Paso, which is right outside Mexico, 100% of my students are of Mexican descent, or either that they really are from Mexico. Actually, majority of them are children of immigrants from Mexico. I'm also Mexican American myself. My instructional assistant she was from Mexico herself too. But there's really nothing up on the walls except for, just I have posters, like one says, never admitting you're wrong does not equal always being right. Like motivational posters. But that's, that doesn't really, I don't think it has a lot to do with culture. For interactions, I will sometimes test out some of my Spanish, my broken Spanish that I do have. I have students that have taken upon themselves that they want me to know more Spanish. So they're trying to help me further that along. In October, November, I did do a unit with my class where I had them research Dia de los Muertos, and they did a PowerPoint and did a presentation. And then on Dia de los Muertos, we actually watched Coco, and we had chili con queso that I made, and it was pretty nice. So that's some of the things that I do culturally for the classroom to respect their values, their cultures, and their languages. Number 2, how do you model respectful talk, active listening, and turn talking? I have to admit, this is something I'm still working on. If we're in a whole group and I see them over talking each other, I will stop the group, stop it. And I'll actually tell the students that are being rude, that they're being rude, to the student that they're over talking, and just remind them that they do need to raise their hand. Active listening. When they're telling me stuff, I will actively engage with them, and I will be quiet while they're telling me. Like, for example, today I was having a conversation with one of my 6th grade boys. He just found out in January that he's deaf in one ear. And so he's having a lot of appointments for to find out why he went deaf, because he was able to hear at one point, and now he can't hear in one ear. He has to wear a hearing aid. So he was telling me about he may need surgery soon. And I was just listening to him about that, and then asking questions when I needed to. And that's one way that I model active listening. And if I feel that they're being disrespectful to each other, I will say something, just like, hey, I think you're being rude, you need to not be that way. That's not a good thing that, you're doing. So how do my lessons acknowledge students' backgrounds and lives outside the classroom? I try to tie it in. Whatever we're learning, I try to tie it in. So, for example, right now with social studies, since we just finished, since March was just famous women's, it was like International Women's Month. And I did get a late start, so they're still working on it. But my 5th graders, because I only have 5th grade for social studies, they're researching famous women. And I was helping one student, because some of them are pretty low. So I was helping one student research Wilma Rudolph. She was a famous runner. And some of the things that came up about her, she was one of 22 children. And some of the students in my class come from large families. Like the student I was working with Wilma Rudolph, he's one of 8. So I was asking him, like, hey, how would you feel if you were one of 22 instead of the one of 8 that you are? So that's how I try to tie it in. And then again with bravery, like, today I was I was editing with one of my girls. Her dad's in the hospital and doesn't look good. Looks like he's not going to make it. And so she didn't write about that, about bravery, because she's not ready to talk about that. But I just told her, I was like, well, that's one example. You're going through some challenging times, and you're being brave about that. And she's like, yeah, you're right, Miss McCarthy. So that's how I tied in. Describe how you create a pleasant, inviting atmosphere where students feel safe and encouraged to learn. I welcome them every morning. As soon as they come to my door, I'm like, good morning. I mean, I'm not a morning person, but I think I do on a pretty good act in the morning. My kids know that I'm not, because I tell them that I'm not a morning person, but I'm like, good morning, welcome. If they've been gone, say they're absent and they come back, I'm like, we missed you, blah, 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 blah. I'm always quick for a hug if they need one. If they're down, if I can tell something's bothering them, I'll pull them aside and ask if they want to talk. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. And, I just try to make it pleasant for them. And then just let them know, they're going to fail, but I keep encouraging them, like, just keep trying. It's good. How do I make learning accessible for all students? It's a good question. I just work with them to their needs. I have students who are more needier than others. So some need a little bit more one-on-one time with me, and then some, they're good with just a small group, and, they got it. They just go. So I adjust my teaching to their needs. 6, describe how you modify arrangement, accommodations, learning activities, and support student-to-student collaboration. Well, if you look at my tables, there's two chairs to a desk. So whenever there is a project where I let them work in groups or 2 students, that's how I let them, sit next to each other like that. I do have 2 islanders, but that's because they've proven not to be trustworthy in group as a whole. So that's how I modify. Your students use technology. How do you make it accessible to all students? So my district, when COVID happened, our superintendent actually found a way to get Google Chromebooks out to every student in the district. He even went so far as to have a partnership with T-Mobile, and I think last year I went to Verizon, to get them hotspots, so that way that they can be online. So every student does have a Chromebook. I have one student, it is in his IEP that he does have to do everything on the Chromebook, because for some reason, if he reads it on his own, I don't even think he's at a kindergarten level, but if he uses technology, he's at grade level. So that is in his IEP. I have 2 other students, it's not in their IEPs, but they are that low enough that I include them as well. It's just easier for them. Also, my Spark board, which is connected up to my laptop wirelessly. So I am able to, so if I need to if I show YouTube videos, I'm able to put it up on that board. So, and then sometimes I upload stuff to Google Classroom. The 3 students that do use the Chromebooks, I upload it to the Google Classroom that I have. What is the role of students carrying out routines? I think I already mentioned it when I was talking about the jobs. So they all have jobs, and that's how they help out with routines. How do you establish smooth transitions between activities? I just tell them it's time. And, so say, for example, we're going from my 5th graders because 5th grade, I see them alone for math while my 6th graders are at their specials, and then vice versa. So say they've got, they have math and then they have PE. I'll be like, okay, 5th grade, let's go ahead and put our stuff away and get ready to go to PE. and then, they'll go ahead and put, so say if they don't have any homework, they just put all their stuff away, and then they'll sit at their desk waiting to be called to be lined up. So usually runs pretty smoothly. It didn't take long to work with them to get that routine down. Describe how you set high expectations for both learning and participation. I have to admit, I started off as a regular education teacher on an alternative license, and then most of my career I've done inclusion. So I'm still like on the regular ed set of mind. So this year I've had really high expectations, but because this is my first year in this position. So I am trying to, I'm going to be reevaluating on how I can bring down that level. I still have to give them grade level work, but how to modify that. I do have high expectations, and I'll just tell them, I'm like, you guys are in 5th and 6th grade. You're expected to know this, this, and this, and this. Going to modify when it's needed. Describe the location of behavior management plan is posted, as well as why you chose that location. Be my school rules, which is that blue piece of paper that I'm right there. So if you look at it, it is at the front of the room. And the reason why I chose it there is so that everybody can take a look at it. They can see it. And I do have to go back to it from time to time. So, all right, well, that's it. I do apologize that this is long. I didn't expect it to be that long. Thank you. Bye.